Bring him from the yard. Arr.
And I would like to thank my first mate supporters, Andre Cruz. This is Down the Diecast Pirate, and this week we're going to take a look at what we can do with a modern mainline Hot Wheels car. And I don't remember if this one had something special on the card or not, as far as a collectible or anything. Let's get this thing up on the turntable and we'll kind of take a look at what we're going to do with it. So my idea for this one is I don't want to strip and repaint it. I really like this paint. I really like this paint scheme. I like what they did with the stripes on this car, and I don't want to take away from that. What I do want to do is do a wheel swap and detail this car out, and we'll probably put some clear coat on it, just to see what you can do without having to totally strip and repaint a car. And I think it's going to turn out pretty awesome. So let me get it apart and we'll take a look at what we're dealing with. So I went ahead and took some alcohol and just wiped the body down, but I want to go ahead and cover it with a clear coat before we do any detailing on it, just to bring out the shine in the paint more. Okay, so here we go. I got the base detailed all out and everything. Went ahead and decided to use the SoMo wheels. We got the 10mm in the front and the 12mm in the back. It's like there's a little something stuck in there. Oh, thank you. No, why is it doing that? Huh. Got it. Alright. So we got the base all set up and ready to go. Interior, I tried something different on this one, and I'm discovering that the Nolan oil does not like to lay down on plastic that does not have some sort of primer or something on it. So I just wanted to do something a little different with this one. Since it was molded in black, I just put Nolan oil over it to see what the effect would be. So it's not the best, but it's not the worst. I did put a little thing in the center of the steering wheel, and I touched on the gear shift on this one. We also dipped the windshield in the Quick Shine Pour Shine, and it looks like it did not do what I needed it to do, so I'm going to dip that again before reassembly. And then the body of the car. So can't really show you what's going on if I hold it behind the light. So, alright, let me get that windshield done and we'll get this car back together and I'll bring you back for the reveal. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you a 1969 Camaro with a Hot Wheels paint job and tampos, reimagined by me. And we are having rolling issues. Take two. Ladies and gentlemen, I proudly present to you a 1969 Camaro convertible Hot Wheels with original paint, detailed and reimagined by me. The first reveal, I did have some rolling issues. I had to take the bottom off the car and glued the rear axle in because the head pin that I used was allowing the wheels to sit too high in the car and they were rubbing the wheel wells. After I reassembled it again, it would roll forward fine, but when I went to roll backwards, this wheel was rubbing the front of this fender well. So I had to take my pick and rotate that wheel towards the back a little bit to get it to roll correctly. So let's get this thing up on the turntable and take a look at it. Alright, so what I did is I disassembled the car. I sprayed clear coat over the car. I used a Molotov pen on the bumpers. I used the silver Sharpie, metallic Sharpie, inside the taillight housings. And then I went over the outside edge of them with the Molotov as I did the bumpers, and then I put the red in for the taillights. I left the center section untouched in the taillights to mimic the backup lights. Okay. We just had headers that came out underneath the car, so there is no full exhaust underneath this thing. And then I went ahead with the Molotov pen, and I used the, taking a look at that, yeah, I took a tiny brush with the Molotov and touched inside where the turn signals are down below, and then I touched in with them with the clear orange Tamiya. If I can get it on the screen here, it is that. I touched in with them with the clear orange Tamiya, and then I used a brush to put in the Molotov for the grill, and then I went over it with the Nolan oil. Now, as I was putting the surround for the taillights, I touched that rear spoiler. Originally, I was just going to leave it the body color, and I thought about changing the color. And I thought about going with black, and then I hit it with the Molotov by accident. Instead of wiping it off, I went with it and covered the whole thing with Molotov. And then when I got out the Nolan oil, I went over the rear spoiler front and back with the Nolan oil. So what do you think? Is that a good look for it, or should I have gone with the black spoiler? What do you guys think? Let me know on that. Also, as a comparison, instead of doing a flashback from what we started with, I have actually bought two of these cars. So we can see side by side what it looks like from Mattel and what my details did for this. Now, this other one has flaws in the paint, so if I do something with this one will be a complete strip and a full customization as far as that goes. So you can see how the tail lights and everything are in fully on this one. They were just the same color as the body. They did try to do the rocker panels somewhat with a silver stripe. And then these vents on the sides, they put that same silver paint on. And I thought about touching in with the Molotov, and I thought, well, if I tried to do that, it might fill them in more than they should be. So I just left that well enough alone. Also, on the SS symbol on the front of the car, I did dab each point of that with Nolan oil and a tiny Q-tip. I may have to get some more of those actually, but that's another story. And then with the SoMo wheels, the axles were too long, so I had to cut them. And then I used the 2-inch head pin, and I put it through, and I got it. I slowly worked it down to length. I cut it too long at first, and then walked it back. I had to take a little more until it fit perfectly, and then cut off the excess for both the front and the back. There is another way of doing that with music wire. I think the music wire that I have is too hard. It doesn't like to crush with the fence pliers, but the head pins are very easily manipulated. Yeah, let's get this thing out of the way. so you can concentrate on this. And yeah, this just shows if you do find a car that has a good looking paint job, you don't always have to strip it down. You can add details to it and change the wheels and make what my buddy Cole would say is a badass looking car. Okay, so there's that. I think the only things I would do different, I would have been more careful around the spoiler on the back and possibly just went with a black spoiler. I still could change that if I wanted to, with a black Sharpie or just paint and a brush. I'm probably gonna just leave this one just the way it is, but this are the options that you have. The other thing is I would paint the interior. I would paint the interior and not just leave it the bare plastic and try to cover it with Nolan oil or fill in stuff with Nolan oil where it just, it looks splotchy. Overall, my first impression is, I think it's a thing of beauty. What do you think? Just taking something that looked like a toy and adding some details to it, just giving it a little add up, a little plus. Alright, so tomorrow we have the 3 Blind Mice post-apocalyptic build. Sunday will be, what will Sunday be? Last week was new arrivals. No, last week was off the hook, so this week will be new arrivals. Wednesday next week will be another What's in the Case. Friday, a weekly build, and Saturday will be the build off with SoMo Diecast, and that goes on. On the 30th, we have the 4 Horsemen. We also have the Subscriber's Choice car that I'll be building, and then May 1st, or shortly after, I will record another episode of Subscriber's Choice. I will reveal the car that was picked for the month of June to be built, or for May, I'm sorry, for May, and then we'll add another one in to the rotation to be voted on for the month of June. Also, on May 1st, we have the 3 Blind Mice 33 Plymouth. May 9th is a build off with Matchbox Mark. On the 15th of May, we have another Diecast Mafia build, and then on the May 18th, with this 3 Blind Mice Redline. And I know which car I'm building for that. End of May, the 29th, we have the race car with Paul over at Diecast Graveyard, and then May 31st will be another 4 Horsemen. Continuing on, the Redline car for May 18th will be my last 3 Blind Mice build for a while. I may pick one up here and there in the future, but I want to concentrate on improving my builds, doing more intricate builds, and doing more fabrication and things like that. 3 Blind Mice, great guys, great group of people. The people that build the cars with them are awesome and amazing, and I'm enjoying it immensely. I just have to pick and choose what I can do, and I haven't done any of the 4 Horsemen builds yet, and I decided, you know what, I know what those cars are for the rest of the year. I can start building those on the side and get those done. I don't have to wait until the week that they're due to build them, as I've been doing lately with all my builds. Some builds I've been getting done a little early, but for the most part, I'm getting them done the night before the videos due, or a day or two before, and it leaves no room, right? The Diecast Mafia build at Talladega, I had no time to strip and repaint that car because it was right down to the wire. Not getting that car done for the video, but so I could finish that car, then this one, and work on the post-apocalyptic build this week, right? So that's what it is. I would rather have stripped that car back down to nothing and start over and build up the paint properly, let it sit for a week after I cleared it, then taped it off and painted the hood. And if there was a flaw in the paint, strip it and repaint it. instead of trying to work around something that was a flaw in the paint, and there was nothing that I could do at that point with the amount of time I had to correct those issues. I am not ashamed to put that car up with the petroleum jelly on it and tell you, hey, this is what I intended the car to look like. It's not what I intended the paint to be. I intended the paint to be perfect. But in this way, I was able to finish the video and show you guys my vision for the car. That car will get stripped down again in the future, and it will get repainted. Just so you know. You know, I am not done with that. When I do get that completed, I will show it on camera and show that I can touch that car without leaving fingerprints on it. And then I will be happy with that car. I don't have to change any of the details, except for, you know, once the car is painted, touching the Molotov pen on the door handles. That's it. All the detail work in that car is in the interior and the base. Everything. So the only thing that I have to change is the paint on the body of the casting itself. That's it. That car is, you know, that car is 99% what I want it to be, except the paint didn't come out and I had to add an effect to produce what I was going for. So enough of that. All right. Told you all my builds and everything. If you're new to the channel, check out the subscriber's choice. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. There are all kinds of exciting things coming up. Getting into some heavier builds and things like that. Got the build coming up on June 6th with Mike over at Mike's Mods and Customs. That's going to be fun. He invited a few of us, and you know, I immediately said yes when he asked me. And, you know, no hesitation. I am slowing down on my buying cars. I still look at them online, but it's easier for me to say no. Because I don't need them, and I don't need to spend the money on them. I did get this one on my bucket list. So I know I have 2 of the beach bombs. And I have another bucket list car coming. I can't wait to show you guys that one. So, yeah. As I was saying before, if you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Click that like button for me, will you? I really appreciate seeing the likes and the comments. And put in the comments, you know, what do you think? What your opinions are of the spoiler? Do you like the wheels? You know, people say great details, nice job, and all that, you know, but, you know, is there any one part of this that speaks to you, or just the overall thing? If it's just the overall thing, fine. You know, what do you guys feel when you see something like this? You know, if you have a YouTube channel, tell me, I'll come check it out. You know, ring the bell for notifications. As always, this is Don the Diecast Pirate, and I will see you next time.